Eric Burgess here with Music Marketing TV. Today we're taking a look at Dialekt from Sugar Bytes. It is a groove box, their newest groove box recently at the time of publication, made for an iPad or an iPhone. Something you could take with you and then come back to the computer and expand upon the idea. So I've got the VST version open right here. I like to start out in the song tab and start using the randomization option. Now, I have a few things set up out the get-go to make things work nice with FL Studio. That's the DAW that I'm in right now. If you go to the settings tab, I'm using the external clock, and I've also upscaled it to 150% just so I can, see the interface more easily. It's a big screen. I'd like to see it a little easier. In the song tab, there's this checkbox option, and here you can pick all the things that it's allowed to randomize. I'm going to do a few things to just ensure the output is just a little bit more of what I'm looking for. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change from random chords to manual. This is going to let me select the chords. The root key will keep it C. So if I ever want to expand it, I know what key I'm working with. And let's go ahead and put it in C minor. And we will change the chord rate to 1 pattern. So I kind of want to get to just writing some music with it first, but the pattern is this guy. So you see how along the bottom here you have these different sections. These are the parts. And then when you click on a spot, this is displaying a particular pattern in that part. There are 4 patterns in every part. So we're in part 1, pattern 1, part 1, pattern 2, pattern 3, pattern 4, part 2, pattern 1. And that's kind of how it works. And then in the song page, if we go ahead and take this off, or the memory page, I'm sorry, you can see the different patterns. And then over here, we'll display the entire part and any effects that turn on with that part. So I know it's kind of a lot at the beginning. Some of these pages the memory page just kind of looks scary, but it's really not that scary. So anyways, we're going to come back to this checkbox over here and pick some chords so they're not just random. We'll start out with a 1, then we'll go to a 3 chord, because why not? They use sharps for this, which I'm always like, man, why do we always use sharps? It should really, in the key of C minor, should be E flat. We'll go for a major 6. Why not? This should be A flat. But you got to kind of pick one. And then we'll go to a 5 chord after. So this is going to be our chord progression A. And then on B, we're at C minor, F minor. Sure, that's fine. We'll go to another 3 chord could be fun. And then a 5 chord. So pretty standard progression. There's the arrangement for how it's going to be laid out. We'll just run with this. Why not? So it's going to be mostly A for most of the time. In fact, let's go for one that kind of alternates between them. So we'll go A, B, A, B, A, B, A. So that'll be how our progression goes across our parts. And now the randomization. So each of these is the different lanes that generate sound. And we're going to go ahead and let it just randomize everything. We'll cover them as they come up. I don't want it changing the root key because I've kind of picked that on purpose. I don't want it changing the chord progression, so we'll have that off. And I don't want it changing the BPM. Although I don't think it can when you're triggering it externally. But just to be safe, I'll uncheck that. So we're going to hit this randomization. And there are these words that are genres, although some of these genres I've never heard of, that generate different styles, different genres. So let's go ahead and try out fusion and we'll randomize this. Now we could randomize just this one part, or we can do the whole song. We'll go ahead and do the whole song and I'll go ahead and hit play and let's hear what we got. By the way, sometimes you'll get something that's awesome. And then a lot of the times you get stuff that's here where there are ideas there because it's random. There are ideas there, but you're going to have to go in and get them out, right? That's the fun part anyways, writing your own music. When I'm doing this, I'm looking for a good collection of sounds or a cool idea to run with. And this kind of has both of them, but let's go ahead. Let's keep randomizing and see if we can get something that maybe strikes a little stronger towards an idea. So let's hear this one. I'm going to go ahead and start it off at the beginning here. I like the sounds. So that's fusion. Let's go for volt. What do we got underneath volt? Give me a song, please. So the chords, I don't know about the chords. I like the groove though. Let's do another one for volt and just see what we got. So that's volt. Sometimes volt spits out some really cool stuff. Just depends. Here's mellow. We'll give it a random song. Yeah, mellow always has, if this happens to you, mellow, they always turn reverb and the compressor up in the mixer tab, and hitting the stop button doesn't stop it. So you may have to do that. It drives me a little bananas sometimes. So when you're generating them, because sometimes the mellow songs are really cool, but if you're like trying to get the sound to stop, that's where I typically go. Let's go ahead, let's generate another and just hear what we got. So that's pretty cool. So that's mellow. Let's look at hips. I don't want to do all of them. Let's just check out hips. I kind of don't. Mellow is like a two-way street because yeah, you're constantly dealing with these long reverb times. Let's run with hip. I like this one. I like the groove it came up with. I like the sounds. I'm down. So how are we going to take this and turn this sort of into more of a song? Because we've got these different parts already written out. But obviously starting off with everything, it's kind of a lot. So maybe we'll go over to pattern and let's just go ahead and get rid of a few things. So first off, let me introduce you to the sound sources. You've got chords, you've got a synthesizer, you got a bass, you got basically a bunch of other synthesizer engines, a sampler, cymbals, snare, and kick. And these are the different parts. Let's start off by just getting rid of some of these. But each one of these steps, it's not like an on or off thing. These steps contain both the note information and also a whole bunch of parameters. It's like a snapshot of the synth at that particular moment. So just because I have something here doesn't mean it's going to be this way for a step over here. You can actually copy the step and drag it over. Well, I need to be in a different mode for this. But you could drag a step over and it will do this. If we use the hand, it will do it. So this will actually copy these settings. Because if we go to the chord itself, so this is the chord engine, and as we step through, you can see these settings are changing everywhere we go. And so when we're editing on a step level, we're going to change just this one step. If we're editing on a pattern level, it'll change all the steps in this one section that we're looking at. And then you've got your part, which is the entire part, one of these guys. Then you've got the song, which will go across all parts. And then live is as you're playing it back, you can mess with it in real time and will remember those things and keep it in. Kind of like you're writing automation. So that's the different bits. It's pretty helpful to know about this pin icon. This pin icon will keep you locked so that your screen will stay and it will loop the section that you're currently looking at. So very, very useful. And then the eyeball will show you where you are in the song. I typically don't have the eyeball on unless I don't know. Once you start doing song level stuff, you'll start using the eyeball more. But at the beginning, you're going to love this pin icon. It's the best. So anyways, let's go ahead and double click, or single click in this case, to get rid of some of these parts. We don't need all of this. In fact, there's a faster way to do this. I don't know, if I want to keep stuff, I might keep it. So I can select it and I can delete just this one pattern. I got rid of these two. Let's go ahead and hear it. I'm also messing with pattern 8. Let's go to pattern 1.1 and let's just hear this. We've got the pin icon on. And I should now mention sort of how the VST version behaves a bit different. So Since I'm using this in FL Studio with an external clock, it also registers where I am on the pattern. And so I need to have this section that I want looped, locked, and it'll go through this region. Now, if I don't have this on, it'll still do this because it's locked to what FL Studio says where we're at in the song. So if I hit play, it still loops. Okay, so there's a little bit different of behavior here. I just want you to know about this. If I go to 2, we'll jump to pattern 1, part 1, pattern 2. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the eyeball. It'll show us where we're at. Okay, and then so on and so forth. So this is a touch different. Now, if we have the lock on, I'm actually not sure what will happen. Oh, it stays. If you have the lock on, it stays. So that's good to know about. So anyways, this is off on the other screen. Sometimes I use it to navigate very quickly around. But just with like, I just have this like blank pattern. And this will be different for whatever DAW you're in. But just so you know, that's one of the differences between using it on like the iPad or the iPhone as opposed to like in a DAW with an external clocking source. So I'm going to go ahead and lock it to this first pattern. And let's go ahead and come up with something. So first, let's see, do we like the groove it came up with? I think it's pretty cool, but maybe at the beginning, I don't want all these parts active. Maybe I'm going to get rid of the synth line here. So we're going to go ahead and kill this. That's what this button does. And maybe we don't want the bass quite yet. Let's check out actually what this is doing. So if you ever want to solo something, there's a few ways to do it in here. I think the way that makes the most sense for me is to double click on it or to go to the synth tab. It'll take you to whatever engine you're currently on and to just solo it. Here, there's a solo button right here. There's one in the mixer as well, but I like this one. That's pretty cool. We'll go ahead. We'll keep that. Let's check out the sampler. What is the sampler doing? Nothing. Almost nothing. We'll go ahead and double click. We just don't need that right now. Then we've got the kick and the snare, which these I actually think are pretty cool the way they are. Oh, but let's go ahead and unsolo this. By the way, if you solo something here and go to the mixer, it will reflect it. So if you're like, can't remember what you soloed, you can come here and it will show you on just like one big page. So I like this. Let's go ahead and take this and copy this so that the rest of it does it. Because right, if we go to the next one, it's going to start throwing everything in. Which is kind of a lot to throw in. So this is going to bring us to the memory page. So we've got our first pattern. We like our first pattern. We'd like to repeat this pattern and possibly vary it a little bit. We don't need everything thrown at the wall quite yet. So I am simply going to copy this and put it over. So this is part 1, pattern 1. We've just copied it to pattern 2. You can literally ignore the rest of this for now. It's like a lot of info on one page. So there we go. Let's go ahead and make sure pattern 3. I wasn't vibing anything crazy in pattern 2, but maybe pattern 3's got a cool idea. Let's make sure we don't overwrite anything. Let's see. I like this percussion, so I might go ahead and just delete stuff separately here. Let's start by soloing up stuff and picking out stuff we don't want. That's fine. Go ahead and unsolo that. Some of these things, the reason they're weird is because they happen on strange steps. So for example, I'll just move this over here, get rid of this one, and let's also move that over there. So they're happening a little bit more on the beat. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So actually this one might have been fine because this happens on these are 16th notes essentially. And you can also get kind of crazy and make the length not match what these are. So you can get like polyrhythms and things running, which I'm not going to be messing with for this. the synth. We don't need the synth yet. It's going to be way too much. We're also tossing in the bass here. Do we want to add the bass here? That's kind of nice. Let's go ahead and check the other patterns. So see, we add just a little bit because, you know, they're going to be listening to this. It's happening pretty fast. So we'll go ahead and do this. And then let's go ahead and go back to that memory page. And let's see what's going on over here. Do we like what's going on over here, or should we repeat this? Let's find out. Let's just hear pattern 4. Do we want to keep that? No, I think it's too different. Let's go ahead. If we were going to vary it, we'll do it ourselves. So we're going to go ahead and copy over this second pattern. And on the pattern 4, we'll go ahead, add a synth line there. We'll add a bass line. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, another bass line. And then from the back, we'll add 2 bass line bits there. Let's hear pattern 4. Just a little more sparse, I think it's going to be good. And also, since we're kind of at the very end, we can afford to get a little crazier at the very end here. Okay, cool. And I think we have our first part. So let's go ahead and unpin it and just hear it from the beginning. I'll make sure FL is lined up too. Okay, so it gets crazier here, but it kind of gets crazier in a random way. And that just tends to make it sound less intentional. Well, it's random. It's not intentional at all. So let's go ahead and take this pattern. I actually haven't tried this. Can you, you can reorder them here, but you can't copy paste them here. What if I have the hand on? Oh, no, I did have the hand on. Come on. No? All right, fine. We'll go to the memory page, and we will take this part and copy it on over. So let's go ahead and do one of these to each of these. Okay, and here I think we could maybe add in another part. It might make more sense, I think, to have 2 patterns that sort of leave stuff out, and then we'll bring stuff in later. There's also the option of messing with mutes. If you come into the song page and leave this check mark, you can mute different patterns. So on part 2, the last pattern is the synth and the multi-muted. Since we're writing in our parts the way we want, we're going to go ahead and leave these off. But let me show you what I mean on pattern 1. So say, for example, pattern 1, I don't want cymbals yet. I could mute the cymbals, maybe except for the very end. So they act almost like a fill. So if we were to play this, the cymbals will be off until this bit. So this is your way of sort of muting. It can be really handy if you're working mostly with randomization stuff and you don't want to go in and adjust each step yourself. So this is what it sounds like. Let's go over to pattern 1 though. So no cymbals. Cymbals. So here we had an effect move, which actually was really well timed. If we go over to the effects, we can see there are these effect options here that come in and out. So if we look, in fact, let's add some effects to the beginning. Man, our beginning is going to have too much going on possibly. We'll see. So there are these effects, and we can choose to record them in. So you see this high pass reverb comes in right here. It's actually really well timed. Let's say for the first part, we'd also like to have something. So I am going to lock it, pin it so that it's just going through the one section. And let's add something to the 4th pattern, right? 3 things, nothing. 4th one, we do something. And we'll go over to the effects, and I'm going to go ahead and move around. What's a good option? We have a looper here, which might work well with a beat kind of like this. Maybe we'll do the 1/8 loop here for a second. Yeah, maybe. I think the quarter note repeat would work, but perhaps maybe another high pass reverb or even a stop will be the call. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna hit record, and you can do this while it's playing. I'm just explaining as I'm doing things. These are the thoughts I would have. So let's go ahead and try some stuff. Maybe we layer in. I am going to erase this move. I don't like the reverb being in the middle like that, but I think the rhythmically with the resonance and stuff, the low pass sounds awesome, and the stop almost doesn't sound like a stop move. It sounds like another rhythm idea, which is pretty cool. We'll go ahead and take off the record. You know, that's pretty nice. So we'll go ahead and we'll keep that. So right now that's on pattern 1. We look now in our memory tab, we can also see our effects are in here. So you can get quite dense with each of these. But now we have our part 1 sort of all figured out. Let's go ahead and hear it in context. Now we're on part 2. The reverb coming in. Okay, so I've rearranged the song a little bit so we have a little bit more of a payoff and came up with a third part that focuses just on the bass line. I also revisited in the mixer some of these global effects because they are pretty intense. You know, I might bump up the compression just a little bit more. I brought back the reverb a touch, and I didn't touch the delay. There's this chord line here, but it's not gonna play like a major role. Hopefully this gives you an idea of what it's like to write music with Dialekt. And if all you've got is your iPad with you, it can be a really great option to just have some fun, especially with some friends because of sort of the random nature that comes with it. Let's go ahead and just give this thing a quick preview. Yeah, so there's options there. There's an idea there, something we could definitely shape further into a tune. I might need to give a little bit more room at the beginning for like stuff to actually develop, but you can sort of see the workflow. If you have any questions, drop them down below, or anything you liked or were like, oh, you should have tried this instead. It would have turned out better. Let me know. Subscribe and hit that bell icon for future videos, and have a blessed day.